Hello, and another exciting Sunday here on Ageless Touche TV. Thank you so much for joining me. Hey, I am your host, Tony Hill. Thank you so much again for waking up with me this morning. I have a pretty interesting uh, show or topic I want to share with, and keep in mind, this show is live. Okay, so we don't pre-record, we don't edit, we just give it to you straight, raw, and uncut. So any mistakes or whatever that we make on TV, especially on this live stream, hey, it's real. Okay. So without further ado, I'd like for you, if you like the show, you want to see more of the show, and you want to help us with keeping the show going, you can subscribe, uh, share, comment on the show. Let us know what you want to hear. Let us know uh, what you want us to talk about. If you have any concerns or anything that you question or whatever, whether it doesn't matter whether it's right, wrong, or I'm not going to give you my ideas so much as I can research it. I can let you know specifically what that is. Okay. So also we do have on touchefitness.com, we do have incentive programs, and we have a donation bar or donation area where you can actually donate and help the show grow and help us reach other people that wants to see it or need help in the area of health and fitness. Well, let's get right to our show this morning. What I wanted to talk about is something that really I've been doing for, oh my God, many years. I I really like using resistance bands. So today we're going to have a demonstration of one or some of my favorite exercises. There's many more, but I kind of broke it down to like maybe a few that I like that are my favorite resistance band exercises. Because what people don't understand is, say for example, you injure yourself, right? When you injure yourself, what's the first thing you get? You know, when you go to your therapist, they get resistance bands, right? And they use them to help you get well. Well, we're gonna go deep into that and find out what are the benefits, true benefits of resistance band. But before I do, as you guys can see the shirt, you see the 12% right here. Ah, 12% club. It's over here. Oh, it's over here. It's over here. All right, I got to get used to the camera. See, you see 12% club right there. You can get this shirt online at our merchandise. We have merchandise. We have shoes. We have hoodies. We have tights. We have all kinds of stuff that you can purchase there. So get your merch. Get your merch. Anything you purchase online will help us further the show. So please be supportive of the show. We really appreciate you. Special shout out to EOS Fitness for all their support, and my I guess my father company, which is TK Fit Inc. We actually reach an international audience, and it just keeps on going. God has really been good. But please get the merch. As you can see here underneath the arm, you got Touche right there. I'm trying to get the angles right, you know. So the shirt feel really comfortable, good material. I mean, it is a really good thing. Also, you see me unpack my shoes, right? Those shoes, I'm telling you, are so cool. They're so comfortable. They look like Converse, but they're not Converse. They're built differently. So thank you so much for all your support. I did get some amazing orders. Thank you so much. Keep buying, keep buying. There's an endless supply unless we get the word that it's out. Unfortunately, we haven't. We've got the supply for you to buy. So please, I want to encourage you to get the merchandise, support the show. Uh, Click, share, comment. Okay. So without further ado, let's get into the benefits of resistance bands. Now, the benefits of resistance bands actually what they're designed for is, and mind you, let me before I get into that, resistance bands are very tough to work with. If you've come to any of my classes at EOS Fitness, uh, actually you can find out all of my classes on EOS Fitness. All you have to do is go to touchefitness.com, and the class schedule is there so you can see that. But uh, I use those things so much to where it's so difficult for people to actually get through it. The most difficult exercise that I've seen in class is, the shoulder press. Well, the shoulder press actually it's one exercise, but it involves a lot more muscle than just, uh, lifting up. You're talking about the lateral deltoid per se. But at the same time, it's hard for a reason because it's the true nature of how muscle contraction actually works. Now, there's many different types of resistance bands that you can use. There's the ones like Touche. There's the bands with the handles. Uh, there is the bands you put around your ankles and legs for your thighs. There's so many different kinds of bands, but nevertheless, they actually all of them have a purpose, and that one single purpose that they have is literally to move the muscle equally, both in your positive and your negative work, which actually, uh, in truth, actually stimulates the entire muscle, and more work for the muscle in one given exercise. That's the value. So let's dive right in. The benefits of using resistance bands out because it's the same muscle activity. And I'm looking at my notes, so I'm gonna get up back here with less chance of injury. Well, that's a really big one because let's talk about same muscle activity with less chance of injury. When you have a resistance bands, I usually do this test. I used to put the resistance band up there and I says, do you want it to look like this? I relax it. Then I said, oh, you want to look like that tight, right? And people say, I want the tight one, right? So when you're doing those bands, right, it's the same muscle activity. You can't injure yourself unless you're literally doing them incorrectly, which is very difficult to move a resistance band incorrectly. Uh, it's just you either can do it or you can't do it. But you have to understand, and I'm looking at my notes here so that I can stay on point. According to the strength and conditioning research.com, that's where I got most of this information from. Is training with elastic bands provides similar and sometimes even greater muscle activity as weight training. Okay, they say one major difference uh, is that it involves a lower amount of force on the joints, which means that more stimulus can be provided to the muscle with less chance of injury. And this is so cool because remember, this comes from the strength and conditioning research. Okay. And this is where I get it. If you want any further information, you go to strengthandconditioningresearch.com and you can get more information. I mean, it's a very good site to research from, but it all makes sense because when you're lifting weights, what happens is when you're lifting weights, you all the time you have a risk of injury, and you've got to really know that weight training is good, but it's good in its own right. It's not good all the time. Well, let me say this: you have to actually be willing to change your workout just like you change the food that you eat. So when you're training, it's almost like you uh, are really like it's like an experiment. It's like you're actually exercising and everything, and you're getting your body strong and everything. And you say, okay, I want a bigger muscle bicep, so I'm gonna do some dumbbell curls. Well, I want a more detailed, so I'm gonna do alternating curls. So I want a hammer curls, and I want preacher curls, and I want barbell curls, and it's so many different things you can do with weights. However, the stress on the joints is crazy. Just think, resistance band literally is more efficient than that. The resistance bands actually is 100% muscle stimulation. I mean, now the biggest issue is, do you get a heavy duty one, which is more difficult, or do you get a light one? Which usually, as most people grab the light because heavy duty is very, very difficult. But it gives you actually a starting point. So you start light and you work your way up. Well, there's so much you can do with a resistance band. You don't even have to go to the heavy one, right? You can actually stay in the light or medium. Now, some resistance bands have different colors. Different colors note different types of force used on the band, whether it's difficult or whether it's easy. So sometimes you'll find yellow easy, green easy, but when you get into the red and the blue, it gets very difficult. Now, some resistance band people who make the resistance bands, companies who make those resistance bands, use color coding. They usually say the darker the color, right, the heavier the resistance load. However, it just depends on what company you buy the resistance bands from. So keep in mind, greater muscle stimulus is really, 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 really something that the resistance band offers. But keep in mind, the first thing is the same muscle activity with less chance of injury. Let's go into why. Because what I just said to you was you get greater muscle stimulation from a resistance band. Now, do you get greater muscle stimulation from weights? Well, I'm not going to say that per se because they're different in their own right. No one exercise is the same. Okay. So I want to also say, also keep reminding you, subscribe, comment, and share to the site. Okay. And remember, donate if you can to the show. You'll find that you can go to touchefitness.com and you can click on actually the donation button. And whatever you want to give is really good for the show. You're putting in the show. You're helping me expand the show. You're helping the show grow. And I really, really, truly appreciate that. I think we'll show that on the screen, how you do that. If not, then you can actually go to touchefitness.com and you can see it all and help right there. So let's get back into the curriculum. Greater muscle stimulation. Okay. So we're coming now. Remember, I'm coming from the strength and conditioning research. Okay. The website. And because I'm looking at everything, I said, you know what? They think on this topic now. I don't agree with a lot of what people say, but I agree on this topic because I've been using resistance bands for a number of years. And, at my age right now, it's really cool. I was a bodybuilder. I was a powerlifter. I've been able to sustain, a reasonable physique throughout the years. And resistance bands are very, very much a part of that. So what they say here is one major difference between free weights and resistance bands is the variable resistance applied through the full range of motion of an exercise. Think about that. One major difference between free weights and resistance bands is the variable resistance applied through the full range of motion of an exercise. For example, if you're lifting weights, right? Let's take the barbell, right? The barbell, some people use different angles on the barbell to use the barbell, right? But as you lift the barbell up, you got greater resistance than you have releasing the movement. So when you lift the barbell and you contract it, now you got gravity bringing you down. Now, if you want to get a stimulation both ways, see, you got this here, but you have to do a slow negative. But even the slow negative coming down with gravity is not even comparable to the resistance band being both equally positive and negative. Okay. This also means that you will often need to activate your core for balance. The need to control them from snapping back into place means greater stimulation and strength through the muscles' full range of motion. And the pull of the band reduces your ability to cheat by using momentum. When you have free weights, you oftentimes use momentum. Resistance band reduces your ability to cheat. And this is why resistance bands are so difficult. I always encourage people, even with my clients, I actually encourage them. I start them with a resistance band. And then oftentimes, depending on their fitness level, I incorporate the fitness bands into the training so they can see the difference, the value and the different stimulation, because it is truly a different stimulation, okay, on how you train. If you want that lean body, that tight body, remember, you can't get any of that without proper nutrition. We're talking nutrition, we're talking rest, we talk water. I preach this all the time in class, and sometimes I think people, they might get tired of me repeating it, but we learn repetition. We constantly learn the value of knowledge when it's said over and over and over again. It's like if you have any kids, what do you tell them? He says, hey, stop doing that. They go, they do it again. He says, stop doing that. They do it again. They stop doing that. They do it again. Then you say, didn't I tell you to stop doing that? And what do? They give you a break for a little bit, and then they do it again. Pretty soon, as they get older, hopefully, they learn not to do that. Now, one of the things you can learn very quickly is fire. You only have to do that one time, right? Because the pain is really intense. Well, hence, this is why I talk about free weights machines versus resistance bands. People don't use resistance bands because they're difficult. People don't use them because they don't understand them. Resistance bands is the key to a lean, beautiful, nice, tight body. 50 to 100 reps, 25 reps. Its resistance bands are very safe for your joints. Free weights is like, you know, easy. It's like that kid that keep doing it over and over and over. Resistance band, you try one, it's like the fire. Oh my God, I can't do this. And you stop, you put them down. You don't touch them though. See? So, I mean, that, I don't know how strong of an analogy that is, but that's all I got. Okay. So if you have any questions, please feel free to put them down. I'm waiting. I know I have some people watching, and I'm really excited about that. Okay, so let's move on. Resistance bands, stabilization, and core activation. Okay, let me read from my notes. The consistent tension from bands add an element of required stabilization from your body to maintain form during many exercises. This also means that you will often need to activate your core for balance. The need to control them from snapping back into place means greater stimulation and strength through the muscle's full range of motion, which is so cool because remember, we keep talking about core balance. When you are actually dealing with resistance bands, you have to engage your core. You cannot just lift. Lifting weights, what happens? Momentum. Doing resistance bands, what happens? Core. You cannot use momentum with a resistance band. You have to engage the core, which makes the resistance bands training even more difficult. Hence why weight training, you see people lifting heavier weights and they're using everything. They're using momentum to try to get it up. Pretty much like when you do, when I have my class do leg lifts, right? Usually people want to go all the way down and then they want to come all the way up. Oftentimes the best leg lift, and I've done this in class before, the best leg lift is literally to actually start where your back is flat on the ground. Usually it's like, I tell them, I said, it's like a 90 degrees. So you're like this, right? Okay, yes. Now, when you start at the 90 degrees, if you really want to activate, and this is in relation to the resistance band as well. If you start at 90 degrees, right? Now, people go this way, you see? They go that way so they can use momentum and come right snap back up. Pop, pop, right? But when you start the exercise, if you're at 90 degrees, do this. Bring it this way, and then bring it back at 90. Bring it this way, and bring it back at 90. This literally engages your core and your entire abdominal wall. Sometimes it's good to go all the way down and go all the way up, but think about this. When your abs start to get tired, you actually go down all the way and you use momentum to pop right back up, right? So resistance bands, 100% core engagement, core related, okay? Going on down to my study materials, right? Improved strength, resistance bands also improve strength and athletic performance. They improve strength and athletic performance. Again, you always want to think safety. When you're an athlete, what happens is you want longevity in your exercise. When you're an athlete, you don't want to nurse injuries so much as a result of maybe, when you fall or somebody kick you or somebody, if you football, you get thrown down and landed on or whatever, that's different. But when you take off and you have an hamstring pull, or when you have ACL or meniscus damage or whatever, this is all due to literally incorrect training or too much or overtraining, right? When you don't have your nutrition and your hydration and you don't have your sleep, what happens is things happen to you. Things happen to you to where the body says, okay, now I've held you this long. I can't hold you anymore. And so something gives away. And now you have to nurse that until you're able to get back on your feet. So you want to, resistance bands improve strength and athletic performance. From my notes, I want to read this to you. Power resistance bands are extremely effective for athletic training due to the increased load, variable resistance, and instability. Now, when I talk about power resistance bands, there are all, remember I told you, there are all kinds of resistance bands. There are all kinds of workload or, strength measurement of resistance bands. Some strength resistance bands are harder, but the power resistance bands are thicker. They add a little bit more volume. Usually, a power resistance bands, just to give you an idea, they have these resistance bands. They're really thick, and you can, if you have a problem doing a pull-up, you can actually put your feet on it, and it helps you do the pull-up. These are power resistance bands. They can handle a lot of torque, right? Going on, it says, according to one study by the Sports Journal, and you can find this in the sportsjournal.org, experienced powerlifters and strength and conditioning professionals have claimed elastic band resistance combined with traditional training produces strength gains for several years. Think about that. They have found that to be true. So you don't really, with power resistance band, with resistance bands, you don't really lose strength. It's almost like, how do I say? Well, what comes in my mind right now, it may not make sense or whatever, it may be kind of weird, but I love ice cream, right? So I have to buy non-dairy ice cream versus dairy. There was a time I could eat dairy, but then I do research. I found out that dairy products are not made for human consumption for the most part. So for me, what happens is, just like right now, I'm just clearing up because I had this reward day that I do sometimes, like once, maybe once a week or whatever. Yeah, once a week I do, and so it's like, even though one is dairy, one is not dairy, in my mind, it's just my mind, it's like I'm doing the same thing, right? So in that case, what they were talking about here is that you don't lose the strength that you obtain through resistance band versus adding other types of training for several years if done correctly. They're the same, but they're actually different, right? So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, ice cream is, one is dairy, one is not dairy. It's the same, but I don't lose the taste. I will not lose the lightness of ice cream because they almost taste the same. It's just it doesn't respond to my body the same, right? So it's the same for resistance bands. I hope you got that. I'm thinking about ice cream Sunday, but hey, sorry. So anybody have any questions so far? I'm here for you. I'm giving you the information. So if you do want to train with me, I do personal coaching. I do mentorship program. I have Touche certification. I'm looking for instructors. I have so many types of options for you. If you go to touchefitness.com, you can actually see that. Shaw Consultants have done an incredible job. A special shout out to my personal manager, Shaw Consulting, which handles all of my companies. Ariel Shaw is absolutely amazing in what she does, and I don't give her enough praise, but she is the genius behind all of this. So a special shout out to my brother Michael Green, Successful Aging. He's in Sweden. Sometimes, that brother is just so incredible. I don't, he's not here today because I said, you know what, I'm going to give brother a break. If he has something to say, he'll email me and let me know. But I don't want him. I want him to be one of those things that, one of those special treats. You guys kind of look for it all the time, but I love it when you ask for him. But he will be back. Um, he's again, he's in Sweden, and he shoots live from Sweden, from his home. He's a wonderful force in the background, and I just want to do a special shout out for successful aging, Mike Green. Again, you can reach him at his email if you haven't seen that. We always put that on the show. It's healthyinthebrain@yahoo.com. His company is also one of the sponsors of the show. You can reach him at mikegreen.se. Um, please keep him in mind. He will be here again. If you have any topics that you want to discuss or want him to talk about, please let us know. You can actually email us at touche.exercise@gmail.com. Yeah, I think I got that right. There we go. Yes, 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 yes. So let's continue. Now, with resistance bands are also ideal for rehabilitation. This was a good note I wanted to share with you on this topic. It says resistance bands and tubes have been proven to improve strength, size, and function. I'll say that again. Resistance bands and tubes have been proven to improve strength, size, and function of muscles in the elderly as well as those undergoing rehabilitation. Resistance bands are the safest piece of equipment you could ever have. And again, it's been proven. Bands can provide very light or heavy resistance, which can be used in targeting ways for specific muscles that are, and also protects your joints. Think about it this way. Constant weight training is not necessarily good for your joints. The human body, of course, if we want bigger muscles, that's from the bodybuilding community, because I was in that community, and I'm still in that community. You're a bodybuilder, you're building your body. Weight training is a foreign entity, meaning that weight training is not something that you do or you should do every day without periodization, which means changing your workout, changing the method that you do train. Sometimes use weights, sometimes use bands, sometimes use functional training, sometimes do military boot camp, body weight training. It's like when you look at exercise. Exercise is such an amazing journey. It's just simply movement, right? It's the degree and the intensity of movement which can change the way your body looks. Weight training, literally, because it's a foreign thing, for the joints, it literally just wears them down. Most weightlifters are left with, you know, oftentimes debilitating injuries that they have to nurse, as they get older. And so bodybuilders, we're talking, arthritis, we're talking bursitis, we're talking a lot of different things that happen because of the overuse of weights and the strain on the joints. Resistance bands does not provide that. Resistance bands, literally, the safest thing you can ever do. You just have to learn how to use them. When to use them, you can use them every day. Okay. And that's the value of having them. You can also use them for stretching. And then, and weight and resistance bands are also good for travel. I mean, just think about it. You can take those things, put them in your luggage, and you're gone to your trip. Get up in the morning, you start exercising, doing your work, and bam, you're finished. 20, 30 minutes into your exercise, you're done. Everything is cool. You're enjoying yourself. You literally are feeling good. And as you keep doing that, you're eating, getting tighter, things like that, getting healthier. You don't have that problem, with injury, things like that. So, and if you have an injury, you can actually use them to recover from your injury and never see that injury ever again. So that's good. Okay. So I have a question. Why should you use resistance bands, or who should use them? Okay. Who should use them? Anybody and everybody, I believe, because there is workouts and things you can do with them that really make sense. Okay, especially if you're older. We're talking, when I say older, I mean 60 is the new 30. I think that's what it is. Yeah, it's not like it used to be anymore, right? But even up into 80 and 90 years of age, you can still use uh, the resistance bands. Now, again, who should use them? Anyone who wants to gain muscle. Let me explain why. If you're looking to gain muscle size or strength, you can use bands in place of dumbbells and machines to provide a new and challenging stimulus to your muscles for growth. Think about that. And you can also add it with, the barbells as well. But you can do that without them. Remember, there's different uh, resistance band challenges. The color, the darker, they say the darker the color, the higher the resistance level, things like that. But there are many different strength levels of resistance bands. Uh, Sometimes I'll take, because I need full contraction or whatever, I'll take something that's maybe medium and I'll work with that. I'll just increase the rep volume, or the set and the rep volume. It just depends on how I feel that day. So you can use them for both. Okay. Older adults is good, athletes for good, and pregnant women. Why? Why? Because exercise is important during pregnancy. Okay. For improving energy, sleep, mood, and preparing for childbirth. I tell you, resistance bands is good for everything, right? It's like I'm looking at my notes, and one of the things it says you can actually work your every muscle in your body without muscle strain. Because what you want is not muscle strain, you want muscle exhaustion, which leads to muscle change or transformation safely. Okay. All right. That's what you want to work on. So, what I'm going to do is, real quickly, I'm going to show you literally some exercises that I do. I have a lot of them, but in this segment, I'm going to show you a few. So, let's watch. And as we watch it, I will explain to you its value. Now here, as you can see, I'm actually wrapping the resistance band around my hand. Why am I doing that? Because what I'm getting ready to do is work my shoulders, and I need this distance to be at a certain distance, right? And I need it. You're gonna see me stretch my arm out. Now, when I stretch my arm out, literally, and I pull a little bit, I'm really focusing on my rear, rear delt right now. And what you're going to see is my arms is always straight. Now, as you can look at my tricep, even my tricep is actually contracted. And look at the scapula. Look at my shoulder and my rear delt. All that's happening, and then I pull out this way, right? This is my favorite. Good shoulders, exhausted rear delts. I target my rear delts really, really tight. I don't move out, but I maintain this strength. And I just open wide enough to where I'm actually contracting that muscle continuously. Notice, my positive and negative is still the same equally. I'm getting equal strength, equal exhaustion in both movements. And then I hold it for a static rep so I don't quit right away. And I keep that burn. The more I hold it, the deeper the burn into the muscle, and the stronger the joints. And then I repeat. This is so good for shoulder development. Ladies and guys, when you have nice shoulders, your shoulders are back, and you don't have them rounded like that. I can't even round my shoulders like that. But when you have it like that, and good shoulders, it creates great posture, right? And that's what you really want to focus on right there. You really want to do the exercises that are really going to correct you. As you can see here, most people, when they do that, they literally lift their shoulders up. They lift their shoulders up like that because they're getting tired in the rear delt. So they engage the trap to kind of help further the exercise. No, you relax the shoulders. That's the key. Relax the shoulders, keep the arms locked out. Do not allow the elbow to bend, and you stay focused. Now, how many reps? You want to go, you see me between 10, sometimes I go up to 50. But when you doing this and you pausing and you doing this with a static rep, oh my God, it's literally insane. So there you have it. That's one of my favorite exercises that I got it in my hand. And now I got this one is an upright row. As you can see, I was saying that I put it in my hand, right? Like I'm lifting right there, right? So this is off of one of mine. Actually, it's called Touche TV. It's a personal coach in your pocket. And that's a subscription based, $10 a month. So please, please, these videos literally are on that subscription, that website. It's $10 a month. It's having a personal coach in your pocket. And I break down exercises like this. Now, this is the one that's really the problem. As you can see, look at the shoulders. Look at how they come out that way. Beautiful. That's what you want. Look at the tricep engagement, the bicep engagement. And as you press up, look at that, straight up. You don't want to really lock it. You don't have to lock it. You just want to, I always say, feel go, because that's natural. You see that? That's natural. But now you take the rear delt that we did like that, and then you combine that with the press. Now you take the rear delt with that static rep, then you combine that with the shoulder press. You have a phenomenal exercise routine just with shoulders. And I think there's something else that I do after this, and I'm not certain. But these are some of my favorite exercises with resistance band. Keep in mind this. In the website, Touche TV, you can go to touchefitness.com. You can literally get these exercises. You can work with me like this, and I actually break down and explain to you exercise. This is even a very much more difficult exercise. It's a tricep extension. Now you see how the tricep look. Okay, we're talking. Look at the activation, the separation of the bicep and the tricep, and it's a natural position. Not a lot of stress on the joints, but you activate the muscles. You activate them, as you can see. You can see in the tricep, and it's the most difficult thing people do in class. I can tell you, they do not like this, and you can hear this the moaning and groaning in class. It is so crazy. But my goal is to get them to master these wonderful things called resistance bands. So, when you're thinking about training, and I think that's it right there of the resistance band we have. When you're thinking about training, you want to think about a few things, right? The benefits. The benefits of actually using resistance bands are actually phenomenal. Number one, I'm going to break this down because I wrote them down and I want to make sure I get all of them and I don't miss anything for you. Same muscle activity, primarily as you do with weights, but with less chance of injury. So important. I think most of what people think is that a resistance band doesn't do much for you than literally weight training. And that's a myth, because you got to think about weight training. Yes, okay, you're going to get strong. If you start off with a 10 pound and then you go up to a 15 pound, you go to 20 pound, okay, you're strong. But what is the goal? The goal is actually to stimulate the muscle and put the body in the safest environment. When you take a resistance band, right, you can actually do 50 to 100 reps and not even think about injury, it's safe. Yeah, is it tough? Yes, it's tough. But think about it. I give an example to a guy who's actually, he's a weightlifter, right? And I says, well, how much can you bench? And I'm not talking about resistance band so much as I am talking about body weight alone. Let's talk about body. And he told me, I can lift 225. I said, okay, that's a very popular weight because it's 245-pound plates and it looks good when a guy's on the bench doing that. And I said, how many times can you lift that? He says, oh, I can probably do 10 reps. I says, okay. Okay, so you can get 10 reps at 225. That's good. And I said to him, how many push-ups can you do? Right? And I said, can you do 50 push-ups? And he goes, yeah. I said, can you do 100? And he says, well, I never really tried. I says, well, here's the problem. I mean, it's not really a problem, but what do you think you can get the most out of? Both exercises work chest primarily. They engage a lot of different muscles, but primarily they work the chest. 10 reps at 225, mass volume, 50 to 100 push-ups, mass volume definition. Which one do you think is better? Now think about this. If you combine both of them, it's even greater. But he thought about it. He said, that makes a lot of sense. And so when you think about a resistance band, you have to think about it that way. The problem is it takes time to do a push-up. It takes time to work with a resistance band. In the mind, it's quick going to a weight. I know this for a fact because I was a competitive powerlifter. When you're stronger, you're bigger. But as a bodybuilder, you can be strong, lean, and bigger, right? It's just depending on how you train. It depends on how you eat. It depends on, the things you put in your body, right? That determines the size and the definition of the muscle. Another benefit is greater muscle stimulation. You get greater muscle stimulation with a resistance band than you do with weights. Because you can literally work with the resistance bands more accurately, which create endurance for the muscle, strengthen the joints and everything, which inevitably makes the muscle look good. Another benefit of resistance bands, stabilization, core activation. It demands that. You have to have that to use resistance bands. Another thing is improved strength and athletic performance all the time, every day, all day. Okay. This is a really good one. And we all agree, it's because of inflation, inexpensive. Doesn't cost much to get the body you need. You just have to have the information to be able to apply the exercise of the equipment that you have. There was a question that I was asked, and I have it right here. It says, why are resistance bands so effective? Well, I answered it this way. They can add varying degrees of resistance to compound movements, challenge your stability and muscular endurance through various range of motions, and improve strength and flexibility. That's how I answer that question, which is so cool, because improving your strength and flexibility is one of the most important things you really want to focus on when you're doing any kind of exercise. Now, I'm not saying that weight training machines and gyms and things, I'm not saying they're totally ineffective, that you should not do that, or you should, or just think of it this way. There's a plethora of different things you can do when it comes to exercise. Resistance bands is just part of the equation. They're not the go-to all. They're not the cure-all. They're just part of the equation. If, in fact, you're serious about changing your body, it goes something like this. Let me break this down for you. Now, I've been doing this for a long time, at least over 4 years. And actually being a competitor, athlete, or whatever, and these are the things that I've surmised in my tenure as being involved in this thing called fitness. If you really want honest change and transformation that will last a lifetime, in respect to you and the life that you live, The first thing that you have to do first is know your body type. Now, in touchefitness.com, the $10 subscription, having a personal coach in your pocket literally breaks down. I've got so much content in what I am telling you and how to get there. Know your body type is to know based on what you look like. I say this sometimes in the show. Your body type is literally what God gave you. I mean, your skeletal structure, things like that. Your body shape is what you created through time and culture. The body shape is what you can change. There's 3 types of bodies: endomorph, ectomorph, and mesomorph, right? So knowing your body type knows what food, what exercise to apply, right? So first is knowing your body type. Now the next one is the one thing that people have difficulty with: food. What do they say all the time? I eat good. Yeah, I know you eat good. I can see that, right? That's what I say. And sometimes I'll be joking. So, yeah, you do have, you're on a seafood diet, right? I say you eat everything you see. And they think it's funny. I'm glad they think it's funny. You don't ever say that to someone who's extremely obese, unless you know them, right? So the food is the first part. Why? Because the food is the energy source that's going to bring all of this into play, right? Because if you got your foods together, everything else is going to be amazing. Your food is literally your Achilles heel. Resistance bands, weight training, cardio, whatever you do is ineffective if your food is not right. For you. Now notice I said for you. Don't grab, keto, blah, 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 blah. You put these titles. I mean, you got to understand food is food. If you go to one extreme and have just high protein, you're going to miss out on the body's need for carb. If you go on where it's a high fat, you're going to miss out on the body's need for proteins and carbs. If you've got to balance it out. And how you do that is you get with someone you trust, someone who can be able to translate your need, not paste something on you that you may not be able to handle, right? They'll paste that. Okay, so I tell you what, we're going to lower your carbs. We're going to do the Puerto Rico diet. The Puerto Rico diet has worked for so many people in South America. South Americans, in the jungles of the Aztecian jungles never have a problem. They never have no. So this diet will really help you. So boom. No. Take the journey. Take the journey to see what it is that your body is saying. Because sometimes when you start an exercise program, you start with illnesses that you created due to culture and lifestyle, right? You've got to fix those before you begin to know your body type, the food. You got to fix those before you go in there and try to add exercise to it, because you may have an existing condition or a pre-existing condition that may prohibit you from actually changing, which is kind of frustrating when you put your work in and you take all these classes and you see nothing is going on. It can be very, very frustrating. So we're talking about know your body type. We're talking about food. Another thing that's incredibly important is water. Why is water important? Now, I'm not talking about tea. I'm not talking about coffee, soda. I'm not talking about anything like that. I'm talking about pure, unadulterated H2O. Now, alkaline is good simply because right now, if you can get a hold of it, it's really good overall for your body. However, nothing trumps water, right? Good, unadulterated water. Why? Because the body is made up approximately, give or take more or less, 80%. Think about that. Think about that number. 80% of the body is made up of water. So if you drink 8 glasses of water a day, think about that. Is that enough? And you exercise more than 3 days a week. is that really enough? How much is enough? Well, that is based upon your activity, it's based upon your weight, it's based upon your lifestyle. Because a body that's dehydrated can become very toxic and highly acidic. You've got to really be careful because the blood, the red blood cells, the body needs it for a few reasons, but one in particular, it regulates your body's core temperature. When you are exercising, what happens is your body core temperature increases. When your body core temperature increases, if it doesn't sweat, it cannot regulate that temperature, which can lead to stroke, heart attack, or an aneurysm. Water is so important because when you get active, even if you're not sweating, your body is still hot. It has to cool off. Some of you guys train in air conditioning. Air conditioning is a false sense of cooling down. Fans, things like that. It cools you down right away, but it's like a brain freeze internally. The body sweat is designed to attract the air and to naturally bring down or regulate the body's core temperature. So is it good to sweat? Mm-hmm. It's great to sweat because that's the body's way to function. That's the normal functionality of the human body. But it can't do that if it's not hydrated. And another thing, dehydration. Oh man, that can take your life. So I want you to keep in mind, don't be shy about the water. Don't say that I've heard for many years, well, I don't like water. Well, too bad. God designed the human body where it needs water. If you don't like it, you're going to have to change it. But if you don't like it, accept what comes along with not liking it. Because when you are acidic or when you are dehydrated, your body's subject to illness. I mean, quick. A lot of different things happen to you inside. The body's inability to function without water becomes really evident to you. And the only way you can get out of it, I'll give you a classic thing that I what did I have? One time I had, I think it was either myself or my son, had a headache, right? And he was asked, did you drink water today? He said, no, I haven't drank any water. So he goes and he grabs his huge glass of water. He begins to drink. And then he begins to feel better. And he thought it was strange, but I said, look, it is simple, but look, you were dehydrated, son. And then you're working. Think about it. Even when you're not doing anything, your body is still emitting water. Eyes takes water to lubricate your eyes. Saliva takes water because there's an acid compound in saliva that helps the food go down when you're chewing, and it gets the acid and it literally breaks down your food. Now, acid reflux is due to an acidic body. Think about it. What dilutes acid? And I've asked this question and they go, well, water dilutes acid. So acid reflux, the increased acidity in the stomach actually can be some other things. But one of the things is for certain is lack of hydration. So you've got your body type, you've got your food, you've got your water, and last but certainly not least, you have got to rest. Sleep is so vitally important. Why is that? Because growth hormone is released when you go into your deep sleep. The value of growth hormone is to rebuild and heal everything that happened the day before. So while you're resting in that state, the body's healing. It's fixing. All the cells are being rebuilt. Everything is happening. So when you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing I know? When I wake up in the morning, everything pops. Everything comes alive. Sometimes I want to hit the snooze. But I found out here lately that the moment you wake up, get up, no matter how bad. Because if you lay back down, your day's gone, right? Your day's gone. Things are over, right? So sleep and rest is incredibly important for you to actually recover. So there you have it. Resistance bands is the key, but nothing will ever work if you don't have those elements. Okay. So thank you so much for being with me today, this Sunday. I really appreciate your time. I appreciate your love. I also, most importantly, appreciate your support, excuse me. All the reviews, oh my God, been fantastic. Please go to touchefitness.com, give me a Google review so that I can know how you feel about it. And also, so we can reach a better audience too. I welcome those reviews. They help me help you. Also, remember to subscribe, share, comment on the show. Also, go to touchefitness.com and donate. We have a donation part of our show, which you can donate, and you can do that whether the show is on or off. You can go to touchefitness.com. You can see everything right there. And click on that donation, and whatever you want to give is okay. Anything is better than nothing because it helps me to reach out to more and more people. Also, I want you to go to Touche TV, which this is an element of Touche TV. Next year, we're going to have a new format, new show, new content next year. And if you go to a personal coach in your pocket, which is a $10 subscription, you can go there and you can get all the content. I have some of it you've seen today. And that content is centered around people talking to me and saying, hey, Tony, can you do this? Hey, Tony, can you do that? Because truly, this is a people station. This is a people live stream show. This is for you, for all of us. Okay. Also, I want you to get that merchandise, right? I want you to buy. Why? Because that also helps. Like that money goes right back in to the show, right back into the show where actually it's used to further the show. Thanks so much for the sponsors of the show, TKFit.Inc. Thanks, Mike Green, Successful Aging. Thanks, Jeff Rose Botanicals for his support, ongoing support, and also thanks to Doug Jeffries, 41 Sets production, because even though he's not on the show, he's still, my brother and my good friend. Thank all to everybody who has been with me, who shared, who supported me. Thanks again to EOS Fitness for everything that you've done. You've really enhanced my life. You've really made a difference in my life and allowed me to make a difference in others. Thank you, EOS Fitness. Thank you, Jennifer Smith, for your continued support, for your professionalism. Thanks to all the guests who's been on the show. I'm just full of thanks today because we're heading toward the end of the year. And I just want to make sure that everyone knows that I haven't forgot you. So in closing, I wanted to do what I do always, is to give you something that positive, something that's motivating to you. What I have learned so far about aging, despite the creakness of one's bones, the cragginess of one's silken skin, the crackness of your skin, is this: do it. By all means, do it. Do not let aging stop you from going after your dreams. And with that, I just want to thank you. Hey, my name is Tony Hill, host of Touche Live. Thank you so much, and remain always ageless. Have a great day, and I'll see you next week.
Work them arms, work them legs, strong for life.